Rebuilding a value series linear actuator can be a little tricky, so we're going to quickly walk through the process step by step. All you need is a set of metric and imperial Allen wrenches, possibly a 12mm wrench, and the appropriate rebuild kit. I'm using this slide, which has a 0.5 pitch on the lead screw, so I need this rebuild kit, which is for the 0.5 pitch value series slides. It has lubricant, new bearings, a new lead screw nut, and a new set of liners. There's another kit for the value series slides with a 0.2 pitch lead screw. These instructions are the same for any length slide. I'm using this short 6-inch slide for this demo because it's easier to fit on the video screen. Here we go. Loosen the shaft coupler on the linear slide side, not the motor side. Remove the 4 motor screws and remove the motor, coupler, and adapter plate. Loosen the set screw on the lead screw's lock nut. Don't take the screw out, just loosen it a little bit. Now you can usually remove the lock nut by hand, but if it's tight, use the 12mm wrench to loosen it. If you do need to use a wrench, then go ahead and take one of the motor mounting legs off to make the nut easier to reach. To get more torque, just move the carriage to the far end plate. That'll lock the lead screw in place and make the nut easier to get off. Remove the screws holding the lead screw in, remove the motor end plate, and pull the lead screw out. Remove the other end plate. Loosen the preload screws on the carriage. Don't take them all the way out. We don't want the carriage to come apart. Remove the carriage and replace all 4 liners. When you put the new ones in, there's a raised ring that sits in a groove on the carriage. Make sure that's seated. Slide the carriage back onto the rails, making sure this tab is on the same side as the proximity sensor mounts, and also making sure that the new liners are seated. If you have trouble getting the carriage on, loosen these preload screws a little bit more. Once the carriage is on, lubricate the rails. There's a spring in the bottle you can use to help mix up the lubricant in case there's any settling. Apply a little lubricant to the rails and slide the carriage back and forth to help evenly spread the lubricant. There should be a thin, even layer of lubricant on the rails. If not, add some more and move the slide around to distribute it. Tighten the preload screws until you feel a slight resistance. Adjust the screws until the carriage can be pushed with light effort. It shouldn't move freely on its own. Replace the motor mount bearings with new ones and replace the bearing on the lead screw. I used the lead screw nut to push that last bearing off the lead screw and remove the lead screw nut at the same time. Replace the lead screw nut and bearing. Make sure that the triangle flange faces the motor end of the lead screw and move the nut up the screw a little ways. Insert the lead screw into the motor mounting plate. Add the lock nut and tighten using just your fingers. Then tighten the set screw. The lead screw should spin freely. If not, then readjust the lock nut. Attach the end plate using the original screws. Now don't tighten it down yet. We need this loose so we can adjust it in just a minute. Pass the lead screw through the carriage and into the bearing in the end plate. Reattach the motor end plate and again leave it loose for a minute so we can adjust things. Fasten the new lead screw nut to the carriage using the original screws. Rotate the lead screw to move the carriage to the motor end plate and tighten the end plate screws to lock its position in place. Now move the carriage to the other end and tighten that end plate. Move the carriage back and forth several times the full length of the rails to make sure there isn't any binding. If there is some binding, then just repeat the previous steps until it moves nice and freely. Now when you're happy with that, go ahead and do any final tightening, attach the motor, and tighten the shaft coupler. Apply a little lubricant to the screw and the rails, and then have the motor move the carriage up and down the slide a few times to spread the lubricant. You'll find step-by-step instructions on how to do all of this on the product page right here. If you have any questions about these linear slides, please contact Automation Direct's free, award-winning tech support during regular business hours. They'll be happy to help. And don't forget the forums. There are lots of folks there that love to share their years of experience. Just don't post any questions directed at Automation Direct support team. They don't monitor the forums on a regular basis.